Hey guys, so I got a bunch of positive feedback on that early level loadout guide I put together earlier this week, so I wanted to share with you guys the other half of the equation. You know, when the wipe hits, you guys know what I'm going to be taking out with me, but I know some of you are still wondering what I'm going to be doing. What order do I do the quests in? What maps do I play? You know, what's my strategy for getting the best head start after a wipe or when just starting out playing the game from level 1? Ask and you shall receive. This is my Escape from Tarkov level 1 to 10 strategy guide. Now, in my first few wipes, I would create one goal for each raid. There was so much to do that I felt overwhelmed and would basically get tunnel vision on a single task, ignoring everything else that was going on in the raid around me. Now, as most of you guys know, I'm an engineer, so I'm always trying to maximize the efficiency of pretty much everything I do. Now that I have the map knowledge and experience, at the start of a wipe, my mindset for each raid is to try and pack as much as I can into the raid in the most logical way I can think of. Survive the spawn, make my way to the high-value loot areas and key spawns, and make progress on as many quests as I can in the middle. If I see anything living, kill them. Secure the area, loot them, and continue. Every now and then I'll get a blacked out stomach, run out of meds or ammo, or find some amazingly rare or expensive loot. In those cases, the plan changes and the priority becomes survival. People always ask how I level up so fast, how my survival rate's so high, how I have so much money. The truth is, I follow these simple rules, and I play a lot. That's basically the long and short of it. So what are these rules? What is it that you should do first? Well, first of all, I'd start off with a nice warm-up scav run to get the blood flowing, and recommend you use the scav every single time it becomes available. Choose any map you like. I use these to break up the repetition and monotony of questing over and over again on the same map, and to practice new techniques or strategies. As soon as your first scav run's over and you're about to start playing on your main PMC, what quest should you prioritize first? So this is actually a pretty easy decision in my opinion. You're given 3 options: Debut from Prapor, Shortage from the Therapist, and Supplier from Skier. Debut requires you to kill scavs on customs and collect 3 MR133 shotguns. Shortage requires you to collect 5 Saluas, and Supplier requires you to collect 5 sets of 3M armor and 5 TAS shotguns. Now the first quest is the one I would consider an active quest, while the other 2 I would consider passive. You can find the guns and med supplies on just about any map, but the debut quest requires you kill scavs specifically on customs, so this seems like the most logical start. But at this point, I'll accept all 3 quests and head to factory. Wait, factory? I thought you said customs. So I personally try to run factory as consistently as I can between the other larger maps, because it's the best way in my honest opinion to hone your PvP skills and still potentially find the needed quest items you'll be looking for at the start. Because the map's so small, and the number of PMCs is almost always known, you're able to potentially wipe the map quickly, and then be able to either take the time to loot the filing cabinets in relative safety before any player scavs spawn in, and then get out quickly. Now there are 2 static 3M armor spawns that I know of on factory as well. Here, and here. And I've had pretty good luck historically finding keys and gas analyzers in the filing cabinets and on scav bodies. Now if you get the skills, you can get in and out with some pretty decent loot pretty damn quick, and when you get back to the lobby, your scav will still be on cooldown, so now you can unload all the juice and finally hop into your first customs run. Now once you get a sense for the layout of the customs map, it's pretty easy to build a plan that attempts to achieve multiple goals in a single raid. Once you know where the spawns are, where the high traffic PvP and PvE areas are, where the high value loot areas and key spawns are, and where the quest locations are located, all you need to do is string them together in a fairly linear path on the way to one of your extracts. Coming up with a plan when the raid starts is the easy part. You of course need to survive and escape the raid to make the most money and XP, but that isn't what this guide's about. With all this in mind, my main goal in the first handful of customs runs is to spawn in and first check the nearby key spawns for some of the highest value static key spawns in the game. If you spawn boiler side, make it a habit to try to be the first to check out the shelf on the factory building south of the smokestacks, as this is the static spawn for the factory key. If you spawn custom side, check one of the back seats on the bus parked in the truck stop, as well as the driver's seat of the blue van parked at the crossroads exit, as both of these locations are static spawns for the East 310 shoreline key, which is one of the best loot rooms in the entire game. Now from either spawn, I usually prioritize making my way to the dorms as the next move. I choose the dorms instead of construction because there's plenty of loot in the dorms, so getting there earlier is better, and scavs spawn in pretty much everywhere all the time on this map, so there's really no rush to try to find them at this point. Now over the course of the first raid or 2, you should come across enough scavs to finish the kill portion of the debut quest. Alright, so when I get to the dorms, the first thing I do is check the table in the office next to the TV for the second static spawn for the factory key on the customs map. Now, I typically explore most of the unlocked rooms, checking as many crates, bags, filing cabinets, etc. as I can. You always need to remember that looting is a giant numbers game. The more you check, the more the XP you get, and the more likely you are to find something rare and valuable, like the saluas you're trying to look for your quest, morphine, stuff like that. Once you make your way through the dorms, I typically head over to construction at this point, which is where most of the action is happening or has already happened. Now at this point, you're going to want to be on the lookout for other players and scavs, keeping in mind that scavs are very likely to have the first few quest items you need, such as the 3M armor, the TAS shotguns, or the MP133 shotguns. Now if you have time and have secured the area to the best of your ability, taking the time to check as many dead scav pockets and backpacks will end up netting you rare keys or other items if you do it consistently. Make sure to check for any of the aforementioned key spawns on your way out, and head back to your stash. So at this point, if I've killed the required scavs for the debut quest and have survived a couple scav, factory, and customs runs, but have not yet found the requisite MR133 shotguns, I usually just buy them from Skier and turn in the debut quest. Now if you've found the armor or saluas at this point as well for the other two quests, you can buy the TASs you need for the supplier quest and turn them all in. Now once you've turned in the debut quest, you can now accept the check-in quest, which requires you to find the gold pocket watch and the tanker truck in the construction area on customs. So at this point I'll hop into a scav run, do one quick factory run, and then head back into customs and repeat the same process all over again, but this time I'll prioritize getting the machinery key from the jacket in room 205 of the 3-story dorms so that I can open up the truck when I make my way to construction. Now again, keep it in the back of your mind that you'll want to be looking for any of the remaining quest items in bags, crates, or scavs along the way, and don't forget the static key spawns if you were unable to find them before. So it'll usually take a handful of these cycles to finish the first 4 quests, but after that point I usually find that I'm rapidly approaching level 10 with the amount that I loot and the number of kills I get. Now if you loot less, survive less, and kill less, it'll take longer for you for sure. Every piece is important here. If you survive, your XP is multiplied by something like 1.5 last I checked. So if you happen to loot and kill a ton in a raid, don't get greedy. If you die, your XP value gets reduced by something like 50%, so obviously avoid that as much as you can. So I like to do my early scav runs on Shoreline, as there's tons of rooms you can hit up here even without keys with decent loot, and the first floor is filled with med bags where you can get those saluas for the shortage quest. So once I'm done with the shortage quest, I try to finish the therapist's next quest, Sanitary Standards, as fast as possible. So even from the first raid, I'm keeping an eye out for that first gas analyzer so that I can unlock the car medkit. Being able to replace those AI2s and bandages with the car medkits is a super nice quality of life improvement that I always try to get as fast as possible. Alright, so there's a million trade and quest items that you're going to want to be gathering for this whole time. And I really don't want to get into all of them here. There's no shortage of guides and wikis on all that shit already. I do want to share the most useful ones that I look out for early in the wipe on my first few customs and factory runs. The first is duct tape, as this can be traded for car medkits, and as I mentioned before, this can really be a lifesaver on the grind from level 1 to 10. Now, you're going to want to keep an eye out for horse statues and chainlets as well, because these can get you the Dovetail OP SKS mount and the TT-10,000 rail from Skier. Now in my experience, I have no trouble finding guns early in the wipe, but it usually takes quite a while to get any sort of way to mount decent optics on those Veprs and SKSs that you get from scavs. So these are super high value trades that I love early on. Now it actually wasn't until I was recording this video that I realized that Ragman has a level 1 trade for the MBSS backpack for 2 level 1 or higher dog tags. These level 1 dog tags early game are basically worthless, so I think I might actually hold on to the first handful of them so I can grab a decent backpack, as, you know, decent bags aren't amazingly easy to come by early game. Now in terms of finances, I typically buy my guns and ammo from Prapor and Skier, meds of course from the therapist, and slings and scav vests from Ragman. Now I don't usually buy anything from Peacekeeper during the early game, but ironically enough he's the only trader that you can get to level 2 loyalty by player level 10 without needing to do quests to increase his reputation. Most of these other traders require a number of quests to be done for them, and you be at player level 13 to 15, so Peacekeeper is going to be the first one that you're going to want to get to level 2. Now you need to spend 13,000 US dollars, which is a bit over 1.3 million rubles, which is not chump change and can take a while, so because of all that, I typically sell most of my additional stuff early game to Peacekeeper, assuming I don't desperately need the rubles. But by the time I hit level 10, I can immediately get him to level 2 and take advantage of the first sets of purchasable armor in the game. Now getting these early on in a wipe will put you way ahead of the rest of the pack, helping you get to the next level thresholds faster. So level 2 Peacekeeper also gets you a couple pretty sweet trades as well, including some assorted computer parts for an M4, which most people don't get to use until they're in their 20s or 30s. Now the last notable item you get from level 2 Peacekeeper is the CAA RS-47 foregrip, which allows you to start mounting things like lights and foregrips on your Veprs and AKs, putting you way ahead of the pack versus folks who are running stock guns. So if you follow this guide, you can get to level 10 pretty fast, and you'll end up unlocking better meds, armor, and some pretty sweet weapon attachments. Having all of these benefits over players who are still just starting fresh will catapult your progression and will start to snowball fast. Now if I have the time and I'm able to plan and make another one of these before 10.5 hits, I may do the next bit of progression, maybe levels 10 to 20, we'll see. The problem with that is that there's so many variables and so much RNG in the game that the further you get into the progression of the game, the less linear and predictable it gets. So really what you'll want to do is apply these general principles of efficiency and map knowledge to all of your future raids on different maps for different quests. I hope this helps out everyone at any level of experience, and I look forward to seeing you beautiful people out on the battlefield. So if you want to show your thanks for the work I put into all these videos, maybe drop by my Twitch stream sometime, throw me a follow and say hello. I look forward to seeing you.